I know, there's like a million tutorials out there on how to make scrunchies. Mine are a little bit different. I've been making them for years now with wide elastic, and I love that they hold better, especially if you have nice thick hair, and overall they just give more body to the scrunchie. And I used to sell these, so over the years I sort of streamlined the technique to make it less painful and whip them up real quick. Plus, you've been all asking for a separate scrunchie tutorial, so that's exactly what we're doing today in our Scrap Buster series. First, let's talk about fabric, and of course, scraps are great for this project, and I like to use anything that has a really nice silky feel to it. Real silk is great if you have some fabric remnants that you're not going to be using anymore. Satin is also one of my favorites. Viscose can be great for scrunchies as well, but it does crease over time, but still you can make a beautiful scrunchie. And I would avoid anything that has a very textured feel to it, like for example linen. These are of course my preferences, so you can use whatever you would like, so give different fabrics a try and see how it works out. When it comes to elastic, mine is about 3/8 of an inch wide or a little bit over 1 centimeter. I usually cut my elastic to be between 8 and 9 inches long. This one is about 8.5, and so is this one that I used in this example. When it comes to fabric, this way I have about 4 inches, and that will give you a scrunchie that looks like this. And if you want a scrunchie that's bigger and puffier, then go for 5 inches and more. This way I usually aim for about 50 inches plus or minus 10 inches here and there, depending on how much fabric I have. This time I also have it cut as one continuous piece, but it doesn't have to be. You can always compile it from multiple fabric scraps. You know, I'm actually going to swap out these fabric scraps so that way you can see the difference between the right and the wrong side of the fabric a little bit better. Because the first step for us is going to be to bring together the long ends of the fabric, right sides together, and stitch them. But we want to leave about 2 inches on each side unsewn. I'm going to start sewing at the 2-inch mark, starting with a back stitch. The seam allowance here is about 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to do it just with a straight stitch. This is definitely a great project to practice your finger pinning since it comes together so quickly and easily. And if you're sewing with lightweight fabrics and you see that your straight stitch produces puckers, if you reduce the stitch length, that will definitely help. Now that we have stitched it all together, leaving 2 inches unsewn on one side and on the other side, we need to push it inside itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to push some of that fabric inside of the casing. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to continue pushing it, but I don't want to push it all the way out. I don't want to turn it right side out. I actually want the ends to meet. So right here, I have the other end inside. I want to take the ruler out. We don't need it anymore. Let's bring it back. So the seams facing each other because we want to make sure that we don't twist it. We want to bring these ends together like so. And that's what we want to stitch with a straight stitch, starting and ending with a back stitch with the same 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now that that is done, we want to pull the casing just a little bit further. We're still not pulling it out. We want to pull it just a little bit further. And so far we have quite a large opening over here. So we want to reduce it. We're going to align the seams and we're going to stitch it almost closed, leaving about 1/2 inch opening. When you do this, make sure that you don't catch any extra fabric in the seam, and as always, we're going to start and end with a back stitch using a straight stitch. Now this 1/2 inch little opening might seem like quite a small one, but if your fabric is nice and slinky, it will be just enough to pull all the scrunchie right side out. Like this. Now grab your elastic and a large safety pin and thread through like this. After that, insert the large safety pin into the 1/2 inch opening and start pushing the elastic through. Once I have reached the end of the elastic, I do like to sort of pin it down so that way I don't lose it, and then I continue putting the elastic through until I make my way all the way around. Once you have reached the other end, get your elastic out of the scrunchie, overlap the ends, and then zigzag over them quite a few times to secure elastic in place. Once that is done, I simply get the elastic back into the scrunchie, and because that opening was so small and a scrunchie is quite thick, we will never be able to find it again, so I leave it unsewn. I think it could make a really great combination and a gift together with those taco pouches that we also made from fabric scraps in one of the previous videos. So if you want to see how to do that, click on the video that you see right on your screens, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy scrappy sewing. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!